Hello and welcome to this SheerLuxe Success Stories podcast. I'm Georgie Cole, founder and CEO of SheerLuxe, and today I am joined by Chrissie Rucker, founder of The White Company and one of this country's most inspiring entrepreneurs. And today we will be talking about the brand's beginnings, the enduring appeal of white, and how to make this Christmas and the everyday feel beautiful and effortless. Welcome.
Hi, Georgie.
I'm so privileged to be here. I'm also staggered that you are, and I meant what I said. I struggle to know who has achieved what you have for 30 years. I said the other day at an event I interviewed you at to celebrate your 30 years that honestly, when I started SheerLuxe, if I'd written down the 5 women that inspired me the most, you were on that list and you still are, and that is just the most incredible
thank you.
Before we get going, I am going to ditch the coat, but we need to give a moment to the coat because you hosted a lovely event at your beautiful house that we're in now, the press.
Yes, for our 30th birthday.
Talent. Mm-hmm. And you had a rail set up next door and everyone was going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that's the coat. Even my daughters love that coat. Unfortunately, it's sold out, so we're going to have to try and get some more.
You've got to get some more. It is so good. So I'm going to really, really sadly lose the coat, but I felt like I had to start with it on because I'm so good. Anyway, give me 1 second. The coat's gone. We always start a SheerLuxe podcast with what our guests are wearing. I hope it's pretty obvious. I'm a huge fan of this jumper. Is this new collection?
Yes, you're looking great in your loungewear
I'm
too.
So comfy. Heaven, I've dressed it up with some boots, and I sort of love that you can take something a bit cash and wear it loads of different ways. So yeah. This is.
It
really
looks fantastic.
Lovely.
No, it looks great. It's definitely one of my favourite pieces.
It feels great. It's a really nice boxy top, and actually you've really gone on a journey with women's wear, haven't you?
Yes, we've got a fantastic new director. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Completely transformed the range. Really elevated it, really improved the quality. I'm so excited, and we've got some fantastic new collections in the pipeline.
And the excitement here at your party was palpable. There were influencers, press of all different sort of ages and stages, and it was just universal that everybody was going mad for this sort of new iteration of White Company women's wear. Anyway, so the jumper is...
It's one of the autumn collection. It's just this really lovely boucle, and it's got a little bit of alpaca in it.
Lovely. And it's not itchy.
Not itchy, really soft.
Yeah, I love it.
Really warm, really cosy. It's got cold. And then these are fantastic new barrel leg jeans, which have sold brilliantly.
You're living in these, aren't you?
Yes, I love these jeans, and they come in lots of different colours, and they're fantastic.
And can we take a moment for the fact you've cut all your hair off?
I know. I'm not quite used to it yet, so
I love it.
if I fiddle with it a lot, I apologise.
Well, I dream of having hair that short. Unfortunately, I've got really wavy hair, so it's quite tricky. Anyway, Chrissie, sorry, we could sit and chit-chat for hours, but we've got lots to get through. I mean, 30 years, it's incredible to still be in the position that you are and still so loved. I mean, you're part of this country's DNA. I mean, we'd be lost without you, but can you take us back to the beginning and how it all started? I think lots of people know, but for everyone that doesn't, they should know. What inspired you to start the business?
30 years ago, I was a journalist, and I was working at Harper's & Queen, and Nick, who's now my husband, he was a young businessman. He just started his business. He saw Charles Tyrwhitt shirts. I was just incredibly inspired watching him start his business and actually loving going into work every day. But basically, the long and short of it was he bought his first home, and he was very busy. He was working incredibly hard, and he just said, can you just help me get the basics? I was a stylist. I was working on a magazine. I was used to doing shoots. And I just thought, God, this is going to be so easy. And off I went, and complete disaster. I was totally overwhelmed by colour and pattern. I came home, it was just a disaster. I didn't buy anything.
The thing I loved is that you said that it was either really cheap crap or really expensive, and there was nothing in between, which was part of the opportunity, wasn't it?
First thing is this kind of barrage of colour and pattern, and none of it just felt right. So then I came home and sort of with my magazine hat on, or I just, I love that piece where if you're doing a shoot and you look through the lens of a camera, you often look through the lens of the camera, and a picture becomes so much better if you take things out rather than add more in. So I just thought, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to buy the basics in white. I'm going to buy white sheets, white towels, white bathrobes. And so I went back out to do that the next day, and that's when I discovered that basically there was this really big gap. So at one end of the scale you had designer, fantastic quality, very expensive. And then we had high street, which was much, much more affordable, but poor quality.
Yeah.
We had breakfast with Nick's sister one morning, and she'd just done exactly the same thing. And we sat there having coffee. We started talking about, wouldn't it be great if there was this company that just sold white things? That's how it started.
It's amazing. What I love is it's sort of come full circle, and trends come and go. SheerLuxe is 18, and in the life span of SheerLuxe, we've seen more is more. Yeah. But there is just this enduring appeal for white that always works. And there's actually never been more of a moment. I feel like your 30 years is sort of at the perfect time, isn't it? Because it's never been more, with all the noise and the clutter of life. It's just sitting here is so calm. I mean, I'd never want to leave. It's really amazing that 30 years on, you have remained so true to that mission and evolved the range, but that DNA hasn't changed.
When you start to do your first home, what I realised very quickly is it's expensive.
Yeah.
So you don't want to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And for me, I think of white being a little bit like the perfect black dress in a wardrobe. White in the home it's always stylish.
Yeah.
It's
also always calm.
It's calm. It's never going to let you down.
Yeah.
And it doesn't date.
And you can build on it. You can do it bit by bit, can't you? I think it's really interesting looking around and seeing your accessories, and I know that's quite a big bit of your business now as well, but you can layer it, can't you, over time? There isn't that pressure to have the look all on day one. What
we've done here is we painted the house one colour the whole way through. We painted the skirting boards, the ceilings, everything is one colour.
Which, by the way, is the best interiors hack ever. I was told that years ago about how calm it was, and it just sort of carries through the house, isn't it? So I love that you say that. It
builds the most fantastic, calm canvas. And then you can just build on that, and you can layer in your artwork, layer in
and you can
your
layer in other colours, aren't you? I mean, yes, you're the white company. You're not just white, though. There's ivories, there's oatmeals, right? It's sort of white palette, isn't it?
Yes.
A neutral palette.
Yes, I think over the years we slightly cheated. We definitely see white as not being just one colour. I mean, we have hundreds of different white names, from ivory to chalk to bone to alabaster, and lots of lovely layers of neutrals. Neutrals are gorgeous layered in.
Can we just talk about the fact that what you've built is so phenomenal? How many stores do you have?
Well, by the end of the year, we'll have over 80.
I mean, think back to you were 24 when you launched this business. It says here, did you ever imagine? What a stupid question. Of course you didn't. No one does. But, wow. I mean, that is the achievement, and you're growing and you're building for the next 30 years. You're more involved in the business than ever, I believe, working harder than ever. When you think back to you at 24, I mean, can you believe it?
The wonderful thing is that Nick was there, and he was actually that person who kept saying to me, "You can do this," and I often wonder if he hadn't been saying that, whether I would have had the confidence to start. But he gave me the strength to have a go, and I just thought, you know what, I'll give myself a year, and if it doesn't work out, I'm 24, I'll get another job.
He obviously thought it was a good idea, though.
I think he loved the idea, and I'm very happy to be sitting here 30 years later.
Yeah. Having that person rooting for you is so important, isn't it?
Having great mentors as you go on your journey is absolutely essential.
And would you say he's been a mentor?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's been the most fantastic mentor. And as you go on the journey, there are lots of people who come in and out of your life. Members of the team. You know, I had the most wonderful chairman for 15 years. I mean, he was such a mentor to me. And
how did you find him?
Somebody said to me once, "Have you met Tony Campbell? He'd be the most amazing chairman for you, but you'll never get him." So I went to have breakfast with him.
Red right to a bowl.
And I loved him. After breakfast, I thought we'd had the most brilliant breakfast. And he talked to me a lot about vegetables and how he doubled sales of vegetables. He used to be at Asda. He was Archie Norman's right-hand man at Asda. We had a great breakfast, and I thought, it's a slam dunk. You know,
vegetables
he's going to say
for the
yes.
white company. I mean, it's a natural path.
And then he rang me up and he said, "I'm really sorry, but I actually don't do private businesses," because he was always a private equity chairman.
Right.
And so I sulked for 2 weeks, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ring him up, because I had nothing to lose. So I sort of rang him up. I said, "Tony, I know you're not going to come and be chairman, but if you've just got a couple of hours, will you come walk around the store with me and take a look at it and tell me what you think?" And he said yes, and so he came, and then he stayed for 15 years.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You talk about quiet luxury a lot.
Yes.
You talked about that, I feel, long before it became this buzzword. We all know what it means, but talk to us about the fact that it's always been at the heart of everything you do. And I mean, just sitting here in your beautiful home, it sort of screams quiet luxury. You yourself are sort of so warm and so kind and clearly steely, but I'd say it's in you, it's in your home, it's in your business.
I studied couture. I left school when I was 16, and I studied couture, so I learnt to...
Did you?
Yes.
Why did you leave school when you were 16?
School and I didn't really click, I don't think. I'm dyslexic, and so not very academic. But I left school at 16 because I wasn't thriving at school, and I came to London and I went and studied couture. Okay. That's where I really thought, yes, now I think I'm finding myself.
Where did you study couture?
So in London at a tiny little college, and I learnt to pattern cut and tailor, and you learn that it is all about the detail. The detail of, you know, the cuff, the cut, how it sits, the collar, how it sits, the fabric, how it drapes, how it falls. You know, detail really matters, and that detail really makes or breaks an item. That taught me so much. And whenever I look at product, I look at it and I always think, yes, that's lovely, but how can we push that one step further? How can we make it even lovelier?
That's fascinating. I didn't know that you did that, and I can really see. I know your devil is in the detail. Can you talk to me about how you sort of applied that learning to the white company, how you used it to evolve this quiet luxury and sort of, bring that training together with this brand that you've created?
What the training gave me was this phenomenal attention to detail. Quiet luxury has been at the heart of the brand from the day we started. And the thing I love about quiet luxury is always stays relevant. It doesn't date. They're pieces that you will use and love for many, many years to come. I think for us it has never been about fast or fashion or disposable. It's about really considered design.
You were really ahead of your time, because 30 years ago, we weren't as conscious consumers as we are today. Sustainability wasn't on the tip of everyone's tongue. You were really ahead of your time in that sense, weren't you? About not replacing everything and not being fast, it being slow. It's being a collection that you build.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I think you don't really stop to think about that, but you were way ahead of it. You were way ahead of everybody else.
When I look back to my Condé Nast days, there were the editors and then there were the assistants, and you know, the editors were dressed in head to toe beautifully in Chanel or Burberry. But the assistants had to be clever about what they wore. We didn't earn very much. And you learn to sort of have beautiful, simple foundation pieces. And then it's better to buy one good piece every year than lots of disposable pieces that just,
that. You referenced your time in magazines. For anyone listening that doesn't know, so you left couture school, and did you go straight into magazines from there?
My first job, I went to work for a wedding dress designer.
Did you?
Yes.
Which one?
And for Annalisa Sharp and Philippa Lepley, who's very still going strong today, was working for her as well, and then went on to start her own brand. But anyway, she suggested that perhaps I wasn't going to be a very famous fashion designer, and why don't I go and work for a magazine? So that's how it started, and I went to Condé Nast and I spent 7 years on different magazines. I started as a receptionist, but it was actually the best job in the world.
It was the dream job, wasn't it? It really was, yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I love that thing of just seeing everybody step out of the lifts and seeing what they were wearing, which, looking back on that, I suppose maybe that had quite an influence.
Which titles were you on?
GQ was my first job, actually. GQ was fashion assistant, then I went to Brides, then I did House and Garden. I worked for Vogue for a short time for the amazing Anna Harvey, and then I ended up at Harper's and Queen.
So you left the magazine world. Mm-hmm. That's when you started the White Company.
Yes.
Gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a pretty awesome roster of magazines that you worked on. You clearly worked with some of the best stylists, interior designers in the industry. What did you learn from them that you then went on to apply to the White Company?
I look back on my days in magazines as, just being the most phenomenal training, actually. I feel so lucky to have gone through that training because, first of all, it teaches you about brand because each title has its own unique handwriting. Each title has to have a consistent look and feel and a consistent tone of voice. As I've gone on the journey through the White Company, I've been lucky enough to work with some brilliant interior designers, some brilliant stylists, and I just loved working with them. I loved working with them. I loved learning from them. And what they taught me is there's some really simple tips and tricks that are really easy to replicate. So very much at the heart of what we do now is we love to inspire. Because, what I discovered when I was doing Nick's first flat was, I am not a natural stylist, but I really wanted to learn how to do it. And then I think when we're developing the ranges, we think really hard about how do we make the ranges work beautifully and effortlessly together.
And that, I have honestly still got pieces from my wedding list now in my house from the White Company, and that's what is so clever. And I think it's amazing, you go to these hotels and you see this incredible shelf styling, or you go to these very arty people and you think, God, how could I ever create that? You really you've democratized good style, haven't you? And the other thing that's amazing, and I'm getting slightly off topic here, is I think your pricing is so wonderful and so refreshing. And, we talked about quiet luxury, but you really make it achievable. You make, I know luxury is a very sort of overused word, but you really do make it feel possible for everybody and not daunting. And as a customer, I feel those collections work together, and that's better for everybody.
Getting the price right for every item was a big part of what I wanted to deliver with the company. And the moment I knew I could do it was when I found my first factories, because I found the factories that were supplying the designer brands that I loved. And then I realised that we could buy directly from the factories, supply directly to the customer for a much lower price. But yet it was exactly the same quality.
I couldn't be more genuine when I say, I think it's incredible how you go into a White Company store and you can buy a candle for X, or you can buy a beautiful throw for a lot more, or a yummy cashmere set or shearling coat. And the level of service is the same. It does feel luxurious, it does feel special. I think it's really incredible that you have the number of stores that you have. You've maintained this price point. And I just don't think that should be underestimated for a second.
Customer service really, really matters.
I know.
I mean, it really matters. There's nothing more depressing, I think, than going into a store, just being left to wander around it and then doing a self-service checkout. I remember having a awful Pretty Woman moment right back at the beginning. Some rather snooty sales assistants sort of waving me off to the cheaper department, saying, making me feel that I couldn't, I shouldn't have been in that department. I was a scruffy student.
But I hope you've gone back there and said, huge mistake.
Great customer service is, it's absolutely essential.
It's really amazing. And even at Christmas, when it's heaving, can we talk about Christmas? Because it's a huge part of your business. It's a huge part of Christmas. Can you imagine Christmas without the White Company? It's just not really worth thinking about it. How many orders do you dispatch a day in your Christmas period, roughly?
Currently, we will switch from shipping anywhere between 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 orders a day. And then when Christmas comes, we switch to shipping up to 25,000 orders a day. And we have to look after 70 stores. Christmas is such a great time of year, isn't it? It is. I think it's one of the most magical times of year. But it's also it's a challenge, and I think if you're working and you're busy as well, just getting ready for Christmas, because we all want Christmas to be as gorgeous and as perfect as we can manage. So how do I tackle it?
Yeah, how do you? And someone in my office said, can you please just ask her how she does Christmas? I would like to know how Chrissie Rucker does Christmas. How do you tackle it?
I have a friend who once said to me, just get all your Christmas presents done by the end of November. And I remember hearing that thinking, crikey, and then I did it and it changed everything. We have a big family, and so I have to be really, really organised. I have a spreadsheet.
Can we please have your other golden rules for creating a home that feels
Christmassy,
really Christmassy and magical and welcoming? And you must love it when all your children are here and everyone's together, and it's the best feeling. What are your golden rules of getting it right?
Yeah, well, I think children always know that Christmas is coming when I start to light a winter candle. I think that's there's nothing lovelier than winter scents at Christmas time. So whether it's fir tree or winter or myrrh or clementine and juniper, winter, definitely. Yeah, that's
of the year time. Is winter number one.
Yeah, I used to love mixing aromatherapy oils, and I was just playing about with an oil burner, and I just did drops of cinnamon, clove, and orange, and that was the idea came from.
But I do love your myrrh as well, I have to say.
Yes, myrrh's kind of really rich and warming. Yeah. And actually, we've got fantastic new tonka bean scent this Christmas, which is really that I'm really excited about.
Tonka is just such a good note, isn't it?
But I think I love this idea of sort of building up to Christmas and doing it in layers. So the way I do it is I start with a foundation of greenery. Mm-hmm. So I kind of get the greenery baseline in, which will be lovely garlands across fireplaces, across surfaces. I weave them in and out of tabletops, and then I put lots of lovely storm lanterns and candles. So the foundation for me is always greenery and fairy lights. And then I just start to build on that.
And when do you start your greenery?
I start putting the greenery out at the end of November. Christmas tree comes much later.
I used to be quite a snob about faux. I now love both together.
Yes.
I think you will have given a lot of people will be able to breathe a sigh of relief that Chrissie Rucker says.
Definitely use both.
Okay.
A combination of the two. Then I think it's great to pick a theme.
Yeah.
We actually end up, sometimes we're 26 people for Christmas. So I then end up doing meals in slightly different places. And I do end up doing a couple of different trees. So I'll pick a theme for the tree in the hall, and I'll pick a theme for the tree that goes in the pool house. And so I like to keep it really simple, 1 or 2 tones.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be your multicoloured girl.
No, I'd be upset if you said anything else.
So this year I'm going to go for glass, and we've got these really gorgeous warm bronze big glass baubles coming.
But that's the lovely thing about your decorations as well, is that They build, don't they? You can keep adding to them.
Yes. I've always collected vintage decorations. And so every year when Christmas comes around, we get the box of vintage ones out and we sort of think, okay, what can we recreate this Christmas?
Candles, obviously, everywhere.
Candles everywhere. Lighting is so important. When people arrive for Christmas at my house, you know, we will have wreaths on the door. I also use wreaths in the hallway, and I'll put them on a table and fill them up with candles and put a big storm lantern over them. Or you can hang them on a wall. If you've only moved into a house recently and you've got a few empty spaces, wreaths are beautiful hung on a wall too. True. And then I put candles in the windows, candles everywhere, and I do, you know, combination of scented and unscented. Low lighting, fires lit. You're aiming for cozy and comfortable and relaxed.
And I've got here Christmas and jazz. I mean, Chrissie, jazz just
good music,
hits
a
me
great
in the
playlist.
heart. And have you got a good jazz playlist you recommend?
One of my daughters is a singer, and I love music.
So
I really love music. I do playlists all the time.
It's amazing its ability to change your mood, isn't it?
Completely. I mean, completely changes, you know, it sets the tone or the atmosphere for a Christmas party.
I'm looking over at one of your team here and I'm saying, I think in your emails pre-Christmas, you should be sharing Chrissie's Christmas playlists. I think we all want them, don't we? Comment in the notes below if you want Chrissie Rucker's Christmas playlist. I do. I like that in my house, with your candles lit and sounds heaven.
Yeah.
Do you cook?
Yes.
Are you the cook at
Yes.
Christmas? You're the designated cook.
Well, actually, one of my daughters is, she was a chalet girl for a season.
really?
She's absolutely brilliant.
Actually, that's helpful.
But I think when it comes to Christmas cooking, my mum once said to me, she said, darling, it's just a chicken. It's a big chicken.
Yeah.
And I think the minute you start to think like that, you think, okay, it's not such a big deal. And to be together, to have fun, and good music, good cocktails, playing games, having a great time together. That's the most important thing. Yeah, we love playing games, actually.
What do you play?
Yeah. Well, charades is always, charades is always a favourite. Beat the intro.
Ah, love Beat the Intro.
Hat game.
What's the hat game?
The hat game's when you put
chocolate.
lots of names of people and
you
films
got to
and
act
things,
them
and you have to
out.
act
Yeah,
them.
love.
Yeah.
You talked about textures and throws. I mean, it is just that being, for me, hunkering down for a few days and life stopping and email stopping and everything.
It's so important to get everyone to muck in. Don't try and do it all yourself. I'm on my spreadsheet. I will say, you know, I will know exactly who's bringing the cheese, who's doing the Christmas pudding, and we share it out.
Absolutely.
And I think that makes such a difference.
Yeah, the cleaning up, helping with that's quite good.
Yeah, the boys are always on bar duty, and
sounds like you've got
washing
it
up duty too.
If you would sort of summarise and give, I mean, I think I knew what you were going to say. You just said the word spreadsheets. With 4 children and a massive business, clearly organisation is the name of the game, right?
Yeah, I actually have a Christmas present list that goes back 15 years on a spreadsheet. So I know exactly what I've given everybody every year.
Wow. You talked about cocktails and that being an important part of Christmas. I'm with you. What are your tipples of choice?
Christmas Eve, we will normally do mulled wine, and I buy it. Yes,
Where do you buy it
buy it. I buy it from Waitrose. I love that idea of buying cheap. So I buy Waitrose own brand, and then I chop up lots of oranges and chuck in some cinnamon sticks and put it in a big, and nobody knows it came out of the bottle.
Quite right too. I've got champagne and mixers. Stepbrother's slow gin. Who's the stepbrother making slow gin?
Yeah, my stepbrother makes a really, really good slow gin. And actually, Christmas Day we quite often have. You could do it with prosecco as well. Anything bubbly, but a bit of slow gin with prosecco with champagne's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, delicious! It's like a chambre, but it's slow gin.
Yeah, we'll quite often have one drink for, you know, one cocktail or one special drink, and then we'll just have we'll set up a small bar, and I get everyone to help themselves too.
I so agree, otherwise you spend your life doing different things. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Any other tips for sort of making that side lovely and special? I love the idea of starting with a bar, but
Yes.
is there anything you're adding to that to give it the Chrissie way?
Well, we'll quite often do jugs of cocktails.
Yeah.
So I love a spicy margarita, a white lady. It's a great cocktail, and one we do at
I haven't heard
home
that name for a while.
a lot. You can do all sorts of fun things. I mean, on Instagram a couple of years ago, there was a sort of all these beautiful ice cubes where you would just do cranberries and rosemary and top it up with orange juice or cranberry juice. And then if you put those in a
orange juice as the ice instead of water?
Yes. And then you put them in a little coupe like these glasses here, and then you just top them up with champagne.
These are lovely. Are
They
these
look absolutely
you?
gorgeous. Yes.
They're really lovely.
Our new martini glasses.
Really nice.
Well, that's my favourite of all, the Vespa martini.
I was going to say that's a Vespa, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lethal.
Yeah,
Absolutely
the best.
lethal. You have two of those maximum or you'll be on the floor. We've talked a bit about hospitality and Christmas, but I mean, if anyone has got the art of hospitality down to a T, I mean, I imagine people don't want to leave when they come for Christmas with you. Is it quite hard to get rid of them?
We quite often have people staying for Christmas. So in their bedrooms, I put a little tree in their bedrooms. So we've got some trees which are about that sort of size, and I put them on top of a chest of drawers. I love making a bedroom feel really special. So I will always do pillow mist by the bed, a lovely hot water bottle, lovely towels and lovely bath treats. Box of chocolates is always quite a good one, and a box of Alka-Seltzer is essential.
When you've had a couple of those Vespa martinis, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. When it comes to, the table, laying the tables, what are your tricks? Obviously, if anyone has it all at their disposal, it's you. But there's a lot of meals when you have people to stay.
Yes.
What's your philosophy? Do you lay every table up? Is everything a big meal? Yeah, I'm sure people listening will go, how does Chrissie do it? Because having a house full at Christmas is a lot of work. You said you get the boys to muck in with the washing up and you delegate what people bring.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But in terms of, I mean, you never really stop, do you, when you want people to stay? How do you approach that, and how do you approach the vast amounts of food that have got to appear?
If you have that build up to Christmas, where you've got all your presents done and everything out of the way, before people arrive, we'll have laid the table in the dining room for Christmas Day, and then we have.
What day do you lay the table?
I will do it a couple of days before.
Yeah.
Even if you're just folding your napkins and making your place settings look nice, you can just pop them on a tray and then tuck them out of the way, and then, just get them out to relay a table very quickly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I just love doing as much as you possibly can before.
Yeah.
Get as much of the food done as you can before. Do as many sort of simple dishes as you can, sharing boards, cheese boards. Don't kill yourself trying to, do endless cordon bleu cooking. So I lay the tables in advance, and I will work out how I want to lay each table. Sometimes we'll have Christmas Eve in the pool house, and then we'll light a brazier outside, which is quite nice. And then you have mulled around. So a big iron thing with lots of big logs in it. So we might have. So we always go to church on Christmas Eve, and then come back, and then we have drinks outside if it's warm enough. It's a clear evening with the fire going, which is lovely.
What time do you eat on Christmas Day?
Christmas Day is often quite late, so it just sort of depends how organised we've been.
Is it more dinner, supper, or as opposed to lunch, or is it late lunch?
We'll have a late lunch and then leftovers for supper.
Is there anything we've missed that you think is sort of really key to them leaving and thinking, I had a brilliant time?
People don't remember what you say or what you do, or what you feed them on. They just remember how you make them feel. So if you're having a lovely time together, it doesn't matter if something goes wrong with Brussels sprouts get burnt, or, in a way it's funny when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And just more important to be together and have fun.
Before we move on from Christmas, because I'm getting real Christmas envy as to how it looks at the Rucker household. Talking about presents, how do you choose presents for people? I mean it when I say it you can't go wrong with a white company candle and a pair of socks. And if, you know, anyone was in doubt, or a dressing gown, I mean, I could go on. What's your approach to presents? How personal are you? You've obviously got a wonderful brand at your fingertips, but equally you want to get it right for that individual.
We all want to feel when someone gives us a present that a little bit of thought has gone into it. I collect Christmas presents all through the year, and it's just about sort of thinking about what someone loves or what they might not treat themselves to is a lovely thing to do as well. But actually, quite often now, I just ask people, and I say, okay, if you'd like to drop me a few hints, what you'd like, that would be brilliant. But then on Christmas Day, you must, pretend that it's a complete surprise, and you knew nothing about it.
Yes, quite right.
And I'm always surprised about what people ask for, actually. I mean, I sort of think they'll want one thing, and then they'll ask me for something really surprising, like, can I have a casserole dish? So I think sometimes it's really worth asking. And lots of people ask me for towels. And that is not an obvious Christmas present, is it?
Well, it's the kind of thing you don't really like spending on yourselves. I think your serving boards are just like the best presents ever.
Yeah, I mean, serving boards are brilliant.
That's a great present, isn't it? We can never have enough. Yeah. But what do you see in store? What are you excited to have added to the mix this year that you think might make great gifts for people?
Gosh, what have we got in store this Christmas? We've got obviously lots of gorgeous, lovely scented candles and bath treats, lots of lovely little cashmere accessories, little leather accessories, beautiful serving dishes with great glassware.
Your glassware is really lovely.
Sleep, one of the things I give a lot is our sleep spray. I love giving people a little sort of sleep parcel.
It's very calming. I love it. I spray it religiously before I go to bed.
That's the thing I think is lovely. It's just, throughout the year, just kind of quietly notice if someone's missing something or if they really like something.
Can we have a moment for reflection and legacy? Because 30 years is just massive. I mean, I can't hammer that point even more. I feel like for me to say that to you is pointing out the bleeding obvious, but it's really hard to be as successful as you've been, to have ridden the changes in retail, the changes in digital since you started your business. You really are still at the helm and still one of this country's most inspiring entrepreneurs, and really building this business for the future and the next 30 years. But if we were to take a moment, and I know you're as ambitious as ever and your daughter's joining the business, and it fascinates me because we talked about this before, but you have this sort of curiosity and this sort of appetite to keep learning, keep growing, and 30 years on, that's pretty amazing. But if we were to take a moment to reflect on what you're most proud of, what would you say?
Nothing makes me feel happier than happy customers. Happy customers who come and tell us that they love what we do. That genuinely is the most important thing. Having a really happy team.
Team size, what are we looking at?
Yes, I think we're about 2,500.
Wow.
Having a vision that everybody's behind and we're all working towards and building towards is amazing.
Can we touch on charitable work? You are in this position as one of the most successful female entrepreneurs. Well, forget being female. You're one of the most successful entrepreneurs in this country. I know you feel it's incredibly important to give back and do your bit and use your reach and everything to help those less fortunate. Can we talk a little bit about the King's Trust, the Change a Girl's Life campaign and your work there?
That's something that we've done together as a team. I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve with that, and we've helped all sorts of different charities, from early years through to homelessness, through to disabled charities. And now, of course, we do an awful lot with the King's Trust. And I'm so proud to lead the Change a Girl's Life campaign, which is something we created for the King's Trust. And that is all about helping our disadvantaged young women to have the help they need to rediscover their confidence and crucially go on and get into a fantastic job and really start to build a future. It's really amazing.
And how can people get involved if they are sort of touched by that as a mission? How can they get involved? What can they do to play a part in helping change these girls' lives?
Oh God, I mean, we would absolutely love anyone who'd like to get involved. Go onto the King's Trust website, look up the Change Girls' Life campaign. When I started the campaign, my dream was, wouldn't it be amazing if we could persuade every single person who can to change the life of at least one young woman. And if we could somehow feed that out through that whole country, think what a difference we could make. So, get in touch with the White Company, get in touch with the King's Trust, come and get involved. We'd love that. It'd be amazing.
Talking about young women, you have a couple of them in your life. You have 4 children. It's a cliche, but I want to know the answer, and I know people listening will want to know the answer. And you've said already that you've got an enormously supportive husband, but the mental load on a mother, I think, however wonderful a father is, and I'm sure it will change, and I as a mother of 2 girls, feel the world will look very different in 20 years' time. There's a huge mental load, I think, on being a mother, however hands-on a father is. You have obviously worked incredibly hard. You are working harder than ever. How have you balanced that? I know you're the queen of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
But what advice do you have for people listening? Because it's not easy. How have you done that? And looking back, what would you do differently? What have you done right?
We've got lots of young mums in the office, and I see that sort of that moment first thing in the morning where they've sort of been fraught. They've had to get their children to nursery, and then at the end of the day, there's suddenly a panic, and I've got to get to nursery, and I've got to race to get there, and I mustn't be late. And I do think, whoever you are, it's a really challenging time when you first have your first little ones. Your life changes so much when you have children. And nothing really prepares you for the change that's going to have. When I look back on my journey, I think, I went back to work straight away after each baby because I had my business. My sister-in-law once gave me a brilliant piece of advice, and she said, get a piece of paper and draw the cross on it. And she said, write the 5 things you're going to achieve, the 5 most important things you're going to achieve this year in the top right-hand corner, then the next 5, then the next 5, then the next 5, and then you just focus on that, the top right-hand corner. And you just have to learn to prioritize. Actually, one of the lovely things about having your own business is you can always go home and do bath time, and then you can pick up working afterwards. It's something that you just gradually learn to navigate. And sadly, you have to work out what your priorities are, and then you have to learn to say no, and you can't do everything, sadly.
And it does get easier.
It's just a journey of sort of, highs and lows, and I think there are times when you feel like you've completely nailed it, and then something will happen to one of the children, and you know what they say, you're always as happy as your unhappiest child, or something will have happened at school, or there'll have been a disaster.
But I think that being so tied to the timetable, that's the bit that gets easier.
Yeah. Well, of course, I had this spreadsheet. I operate quite a lot of things off a spreadsheet. It's funny because I was never very good at maths, so I don't really know where that came from. But, and I just had, I would put all of the children, so we have a column for each child. And I put all of the children's dates in first. So term time would go in first, half term when holidays could be, and then we would block out family holiday time. And weekends were always sacrosanct for the children. And I would make work around it. And, often I work at the weekends when they've gone to bed. And
it's not easy, but we're good at spinning plates, aren't we? And
but I think the funny thing is when it's your own business,
you don't resent it in quite the same way. No,
the White Company was my first child, so
And it's part of your family and your home, and it's part of you all. So much so that my next question was going to be, this is a really exciting time for the White Company. It feels exciting. The clothing, the innovation, there's lots of changes coming. I won't say them all because I'm not sure I can, but you're in your 50s.
Yes, quite far into my 50s.
But I don't know about you, but someone messaged me the other day and they said, I'm thinking of doing this. Do you think it's too late? And I was like, it's never too late.
Never too late. I mean, my goodness, no.
And I imagine you sort of feel surer than ever about who you are and where you're going, and so much more you want to do with the business, which I think is so cool. That said, you've got your daughter coming in.
It's a really, really exciting time at the White Company at the moment. We've got lots of fantastic new talent who've just joined the business, which is really, really exciting. And they're all bringing fresh ideas and fresh perspectives. My daughter joined the business, and she's about the same age as I was when I started the business.
Mad, that, isn't it?
And I love listening to the young and, really absorbing how they think, how they like to do things. It's a different way of thinking. I always love the principle of, if it was day one and you were starting this business all over again, what would you do differently today? That's a question, I love to ask the team a lot. And I think it's vital to stay curious, vital to always be looking for the new thing. I genuinely love what I do. There isn't a day that goes by when I'm not inspired, when I don't see something somewhere that will inspire me for a new product or a new idea or a new service. And, happily the business is growing, we're expanding our international. I'm about to do my 3rd book, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, yeah.
For me, the White Company is just part of who I am. And it has been a massive team effort of some incredible people who've come on the journey with us. And I can't thank them enough for everything they do, because I simply, we couldn't do what we do without them. But it is just part of who I am, and I will never stop loving it and never stop trying to nurture it. And I will keep looking for new ideas and new fun things to try.
Well, I think that's the perfect place to end. All I can say is thank you for being the entrepreneur that you are and the role model that you are, and to be as warm and generous of spirit and kind and gentle as you are, I think makes you an even more wonderful role model. And we need women like you in this country. And anyway, long may it all continue to the next 30 years of the White Company. I hope you have a killer Christmas. Yeah. Thank you, honestly.
Well, thank you, Georgie.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy. If you enjoyed that, then do please rate, review, subscribe. Thank you, Chrissie, and we will be back soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.